Welcome everybody to our event and thank you for coming. My name is John Hunter. I'm a member of the Harmony in Health team. Harmony in Health is a multidisciplinary group of people. We began as an initiative from the College of Medicine to explore ideas about harmony in relation to health. We're doing this course because we want to help during a time of crisis, and we think we have something to offer. So what can we offer? Well, first of all, what we can't offer is specific advice to people relating to their own medical situation or their symptoms. That's a matter for your GP or your consultant. There are so many unknowns about this new condition, but a lot is known about how the balance of mind, body, and emotions affects our state of health, and ways to restore balance in the organism, drawing on knowledge from some very old medical traditions that had to deal with many diseases, including plagues and pestilence, without antibiotics, steroids, or surgery. There are mind-body disciplines from East and West that have always sought to integrate rather than separate. We don't know if they will work, but they will do no harm, and we can learn together about what is helpful. Our plan is to run a 10-week course over the next few months with some regular modules on mind and body and nutrition, and at each event to have a specialist to share their knowledge on a variety of different but related subjects. We will tell you at the end of today's session what's planned for the first 3 workshops. Then to begin, let's take 5 minutes to try to make a relationship between our minds and our bodies. There are ways of using thought that are quite different from the usual inner chatter, worry, imaginary conversations, wool gathering, or trying to work things out. And I invite you now to try something with me. We'll try together. If anything is uncomfortable for you, then just stop. Not everything we offer will be suitable for everybody, so do be selective. Then whether you're sitting or lying down, I invite you to just close your eyes. If that's very uncomfortable for you, keep them open, but if you can, close your eyes and be aware of the places where your weight is in contact with a surface. Your bottom on the seat of the chair, your feet on the ground. Perhaps your back is resting against the back of the chair. Just noticing, just registering. I feel my body and its weight. And right now, I don't have to do anything at all. I'm just here. And what do I notice? There may be some tensions, some pain, discomfort, but I just notice. And I can choose what I give my attention to. And right now, I choose to give my attention to what's connecting me with the ground, my feet, my contact with the chair. And grounding myself. And inside myself, I let everything settle, like snow falling, or is it spring, maybe like blossom, just falling through me and settling. Perhaps I'm aware of my breathing as my abdomen or my chest moves with each breath. Then this afternoon our speakers are Dr. Eleni Siompanou, who will tell us more about the Harmony approach to health and about the forthcoming course and give us some practical tips on nutrition. Julia Outlaw, a member of our team and a long COVID sufferer herself, who will share with us her pathway back to health. And Dr. Hannah Poikonen, also a member of our team, a neuroscientist and a dancer, who will take us on a nature visualization journey. So over to you, Eleni.
Thank you, John. Welcome, everyone. In Harmony and Health, we look at the human being as a whole, not as a collection of different parts that need to be fixed separately. Lungs, brain, heart, the gut. We are not a diagnosis. We are not just a collection of symptoms. We recognize that we are made of the same elements as everything in nature. Air, fire, water, earth. And we are connected to the environment around us and other people. This practice of considering the human being as made us from the same elements as everything in nature is in all ancient traditions, such as Hippocrates, the father of medicine in ancient Greece, Ayurveda and other traditional Indian sciences, Chinese medicine, Native American and African healing traditions and others. What they all did is they promoted health and well-being, but they used a range of holistic treatments that treated the whole system. So we are body, but we are also mind and heart and spirit, some would say. When these elements are in balance and they are connected, we have health, we have harmony. So holistic therapies can help to bring about better conditions for nature, which is the real healer really, to do her work. For example, we can use natural exercises such as movements, one which Hannah will show you later, and other embodiment practices. We can follow natural rhythms to relax, to eat, to sleep, and to connect. And we can use food and drinks, herbs and spices for their natural healing properties. That way we learn to cooperate with nature. So I will hand over to my colleague Julia now, who is going to tell us how she navigated her way back to health.
Thank you, Eleni. Can everyone hear me okay? Great. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for coming. And if you're listening to the recording, thank you for listening. In some way, then you will have been touched by long COVID, and it's hard. And, you know, I'm sorry, and it's a journey. And nothing I'll say here is what I recommend you do, or do this, do that, because I know for myself, I found that quite anxious making in itself when you're navigating this path. But I would like to share some of what I've been through, less about the symptoms and more about just some of the things that I found helpful. And I've put together just a few pictures, some photos I've taken over the last few months. So I'm going to share those with you now briefly. Okay. So as both John and Eleni said, if we're thinking about health and getting back to health, it's something about trying to find balance and harmony in the body and using what nature's taught us or what nature's given us to help get back to health. And that's difficult. It's difficult with this situation, with long COVID. It's complex. It's so diverse. It affects many different systems in the body. Some of them cycle around. They affect different ones at different times. They affect people in different ways. It's not a straightforward disease, if any are. Diverse, like I said, like even here, there's so many different types of people, I imagine, with different types of conditions and experiencing different things now. And that makes it difficult to know what's the best thing to do. And also we as people are very different. Our bodies are very different. The way that our bodies deal with illnesses are very different. And our lifestyles and our situations are also play a part in this. It's uncertain, it's new. And I think that makes it very hard for us. There's a lot of research being done now, but it's very little is known. It's uncertain and it's unpredictable. Another thing about long COVID, it's long, and that makes it difficult. It's not something you can just get over quickly, although in some cases people have recovered really quite quickly. In others, it's lingering. We don't know really for how long. So it's nothing you can deal with quickly. And I put here unhelpful context. I mean, it's a really difficult time at the moment. There's such anxiety around and different things that are going on in the world, going on in the media. It makes it difficult to have some balance in your life when there's such dramatic things going on around. And also it makes it difficult to connect with people or do things that might help you get back to health. So all of this plays a part. And I think when people are discussing long COVID or thinking about how to help long COVID sufferers, this context is critical. So here's a sort of graph of my experience. It's not very scientific, but you can see really, I actually contracted COVID itself here. So I think at the beginning of February last year, 2020, and I didn't realize really it was COVID. I had a temperature and a cough and funny taste and tummy issues. And within a couple of weeks, I was much better. And then about a month later, I'd say long COVID started, or post-COVID syndrome, or whatever you want to call it. And really, there's been sort of 3 phases since then. I was, as many of you, I'm sure, have experienced just an array of different symptoms, including shortness of breath and shivers and weird stomach issues, awful chest pain, great trouble sleeping. And that sort of seemed to get a bit better. And then a few weeks later, it again seemed to get quite a lot worse. And it was a very strange time because there was no testing. I didn't go to hospital. My oxygen levels were okay. But in a way, that was all that was checked. And I was feeling really quite ill, as I know many of you would have been, or maybe still are. And when there's so little known, that uncertainty can make it very hard. I saw a few doctors, they checked my oxygen level. My pulse rate was incredibly high. I know a lot of people have experienced that, even standing up sends your heart crazy. And I was feeling worse and worse, really, but without knowing what to do, and was told that the worst was probably over because it was a 2-week bug. And then it did get much worse. At this point, I took antibiotics. The doctors gave me antibiotics for my chest. And I think really that didn't help in that my whole system couldn't then deal with what was happening in the stomach. But Eleni may talk more about that. But anyway, there was a large dip here. So this is May last year, and very, very difficult, not sleeping, almost like my whole nervous system had gone haywire. And again, I know this is something that's shared with many of you in terms of the brain fog, confusion. So couldn't watch TV or read, maybe a very basic children's book. Couldn't really connect with my family, and just a very, very, very difficult time. And at this point here, I was actually given antidepressants and anti-anxiety pills, which was difficult. Again, when you thought you're not convinced that's all it is, but that was all that could be offered. And it played a part in my recovery. But really from May last year up to now, I would say I've been recovering slowly with lots of ups and downs. And again, I know many people are experiencing cycles, and it does seem to come in cycles, and different symptoms sort of one after the other. And funny things can make it worse or better. So those different kind of ways. And then I gradually began to be able to walk a bit more. And as it got into sort of the autumn, beginning to do a bit of work and connect more, and I seem to have a bit more energy, and yet having to manage that very, very carefully and help myself really with all of the things that I'm going to mention in a moment to try and get through it. So it turned from getting through it day by day into sort of feeling about 60-70% better, which I'd say about where I am now. But there's definitely hope. Just one more note on the things that then contribute to making it difficult, which I know, again, a lot of us are experiencing. It is an anxious thing when you can't breathe. It makes you more anxious, and there's a vicious circle there which needs help. You need help to try and, like John was talking about, grounding, but also understanding your natural breath and things that really help you deal with that kind of anxiety or trauma in many cases. The lack of support, I think, it's growing now, but still that is something that makes long COVID difficult. Nothing's set up, there's no nothing with history. It's uncomfortable. Many of the symptoms are very painful, and you have to learn to live with those for maybe a while. A change of role I put there. I'm a mum of 2 young girls and used to looking after them a lot, playing with them, cooking for them and working. And that had to all change. And I think everyone's roles have changed this last year. But if you're dealing with long COVID as well, that's another something that makes it not normal. And that's something which can make it difficult to find your balance and get back to harmony and health. And it's disappointing. Nobody wants to be ill or to have this. And people are sort of now feeling a bit more settled, or maybe even celebratory in some cases with the vaccine. And many people have had it far worse than long COVID sufferers. But somehow in the middle it's sad, and that needs to be acknowledged. So an approach then, I'd almost say kind of accepting what you have, but that's very hard and difficult. I don't know about accepting it, but becoming more aware maybe of your self and your health and your state, and trying to find some patience. I think when things are so complex and no one knows the answers, you can take advice from different people and very quickly confuse yourself. At least for me, I find that almost stressful, that if I tried everything, you know, nothing works, and what do I try? And some things are contradictory. And in a way, when I slowed down and just experimented with one or two things that I liked the sound of, and kept trying them, then that was helpful. And also trying things, and if I didn't think they were helpful, not doing them. So I know the support groups are a great help for many, and for me, I found it reassuring to know that there were others. You know, I wasn't making up this weird experience, but going on those support groups was not helpful for me in terms of hearing different symptoms, and it kind of fed my anxiety in a way. So it's choosing what's helpful or not. I found Zoom very, very tiring. Some interactions very tiring. I found some sort of sleep meditations actually a bit scary. Everyone's different, but finding some things that do help and reaching out for support is what you need to do. So I wanted just to share four things that we are going to explore on this course, hopefully, if you join us, but also there might just be some pointers in terms of getting back to health, general health, which has to help your system deal with long COVID. And they are food, rest, movement, and connection. And of course, they are interdependent, because, you know, if you can move and go for a walk, then you're more likely to be able to sleep better. For example, if you're eating the right type of food, and feeling happier, which I put under connection in terms of feeling joy and connection. There are different things you can do in each one of these, and we are going to explore those later as well. So on food, here's just a few pictures of some of the things that I've been eating. But for me, that was one thing which I was trying to find out. And nutritionists have different views on this, of what's kind of good for long COVID sufferers. And in a way, if you followed all the advice, you'd have nothing left to eat. So I was lucky enough, Elaine's an Ayurvedic practitioner, and to see an Ayurvedic doctor, and to have some advice to keep my diet varied, everything in moderation, but warm foods, and avoid a couple of things, and just to eat regularly as much as I can. And I know long COVID also affects your appetite. I've had phases of that, and it's disturbing. But using spices really helped me. And actually, as soon as I could, which was not for quite a few months, the act of cooking was really helpful in terms of helping my senses be here, helping my sense of smell come back, and also enabling me to make something that I felt like eating. And lots of snacks, lots of chocolate, granola there. But anything you feel like is good for our type. On rest, it's sometimes difficult to sleep, not just the post-viral insomnia, but the worry. And also, I know there's phases when you can't lie down, or it's uncomfortable for your lungs. And it's easy to say rest whenever you can, but in a way you also want a routine. That's why I put mindfully. For me, it's been helpful to have quite a routine to the day, which may be easy with children. They need their routine, and I've been following theirs in terms of when I get up, when I'm busy, or when I'm trying to go for some walk, and when I might try and lie down and relax. And resting doesn't have to be sleeping, sort of lying in bed trying to sleep, but it can be just sitting somewhere, maybe in the sun, maybe just looking at a flower, maybe just listening to some music. Maybe just being quiet for a minute. Natural movement and natural breath. So movement. It was hard to move for quite a while. I know, same for a lot of you in terms of if you've been in hospital or you've been very, very fatigued for a long time, just about make it to the bathroom. there's no way you could have done a yoga class or something, or people describe as little exercise, and the advice to do graded exercise, what does it really mean? And I never was a runner anyway, and how can I begin to move? And for me, natural movement, I'm an Alexander Technique teacher, which is a mind-body discipline. But any kind of movement that for me was quite mindful and connected with my breath really helped. So I was doing a very gentle Qigong sort of series for 20 minutes each day. And I could find myself getting stronger in the lungs, and also just, it seemed to wake up. I put a pond here. This is my local pond, which I didn't leave the house for a few months. But as soon as I did, I like to try and walk there, and just, in a way, I think when you've been ill for a while, your body does get a bit stagnant, like a stagnant pond, and all the energies get a bit clogged up. And to move is to let everything begin to move around and find its way and heal a little bit. And I know some of the natural movement things that will be offered by some amazing people on this course can help. They can help you get a bit of movement back. And with the breath as well. Breath exercises, similarly, I didn't find so helpful, in a way almost a bit stressful or sort of overstimulating. But finding my natural breath, as much as it could, because it affects your breath so strongly, and that's what makes it so difficult, because it's the link to your nervous system. But something about just calmly being able to notice my breath and trusting that the diaphragm can move and that the ribs can move, and enabling that to happen does really help as well. There will be some sessions early on about breath. And this is the last thing to share about connection. I called it Joy in Connection. That's me and my two girls. And it's difficult because stimulation when you're so fatigued is very hard, whether that's TV, but especially meeting people, talking to people. It's very, very draining. And, you might have one chat on the phone and that's kind of it for the day, or meet someone maybe on the street, or for a little stroll if you're further on in your recovery. But those connections I found are critical, really, to helping the system come back into balance. Something about the normality of it, but something about your autonomic nervous system finding a bit more balance and not being so sort of freaked out by what's happening to it. Gentle rhythms again. Connecting to yourself with your senses, just being outside in nature and seeing the blossom, seeing different things, smelling, seeing the animals, listening to the birds. If you can't get out, just seeing the sky even, or doing something that gives you joy, which doesn't have to be dramatic. It could be just colouring something in. In the middle of my recovery, I remember I was colouring with my elder daughter, and I could only sort of do a few of her little tiny squares. And now we're exploring a bit more art and painting, and it's good. It's good for your mind to do something that you enjoy, and takes it off the worry. So that's really all from me. I'm going to stop the sharing now and just say I hope there's something in that for you. Obviously it will be on the recording, but also any questions, just get in touch with Harmony and Health, and I hope that we can find something on the course that helps too. Back to you, Eleni.
Thank you, Julia. I hope you can hear me better now, yes? So it's interesting to hear your journey, and you touched upon some things that we're going to cover, such as food and how it depends on our type. And we have some workshops that will follow, but we already have on our website, on our YouTube channel, one video on that which you could watch, and on tastes, because we're all different. As you said, our choice of food is based on our type and taste. And sleep and natural exercises, We have one of those videos online again, which you could watch. And we will be offering more on gentle, natural exercises, movements in our follow-up course. And you can be your own judge, what suits best for your own type, what to try. There will be different types of activities. So now Hannah will be able to show us natural movement.
Thank you, Eleni. Thank you, Julia and John. Welcome, everybody, also on my behalf. I'm a neuroscientist and dancer and a founder of the Wise Motion method on neuroscience and creative movement. So I invite you to join me for a calming nature visualization, which includes very gentle movement if you feel like moving, but you can also do it still if you feel that's better for you. You can do it either standing, sitting, or laying in bed. So you can choose which one of these three suits you the best. I will do it standing, and also if you choose to stand, you can hold on something you feel like your balance might be a little bit shaky, but it's short. We will do an exercise for about 10 minutes. You can do it eyes open or eyes closed. It might be easier to do some visualization when you have eyes closed, but if you don't feel comfortable with that, you can of course keep your eyes open, or you can open your eyes on any moment. So I put some calming music on the background, and then we can start. So the ones of you who feel like standing up, you can stand. Can you hear the music okay?
It's very faint, Hannah.
I put it a little bit more up. How about now?
A little more.
Now it's maximum.
It's fine.
Now it's better.
It's okay, yeah.
Okay. So just either sit down or lay or stand. And you can just be there a little while, kind of just allowing yourself to be in the moment. You don't need to do anything, or you don't need to go anywhere. And if you feel like it, you can close your eyes, or you can keep your eyes open. You can allow all these small muscles in your forehead and around your eyes to relax. On your cheek, your jaw, in your tongue, and even in the back of your tongue. Your neck and shoulders relax. Arms, wrists, and hands, and all the fingers. The upper back and the shoulder blades, the chest area, the whole back and the belly, the hip, thighs, knees, ankles, and feet. Slowly, you can allow in your mind to emerge this huge, infinite field of flowers. You're in the middle of a large field of flowers. all around you, all the way in the horizon, you can see flowers. Observe huge field of flowers around you, their shapes and sizes and colors. And also feel the sun warming your body. You can a little bit wake up the skin on your face. You can move your head gently to feel better the warmth of the sun rays on your skin. You can gently move your shoulders and really expose the skin on your shoulders to the warmth of the sun. Your arms and your hands and fingers can really feel the warmth of the sun. Your chest and back, and you can a little bit again maybe move the back and the belly so that there's more and more skin exposing to the warmth of the sun. Same the hip area, thighs. You can really feel the sun rays also in your knees and ankles and feet and toes. Now, when we are in this vast field of flowers, you can start gently picking up the most beautiful ones. So you can really reach towards flowers and one by one pick the most beautiful flowers. Some flowers might be really tall, really high, kind of sunflower, so you need to reach a little bit higher to take the beautiful flower. And sunflowers might be these tiny, tiny ones, close to the ground. So just very precisely seek for the most beautiful ones and collect them. And then slowly you can start searching for the most beautiful flower. Just one flower in this infinite field, and go towards it very slowly and gently. And very, very gently, you can take this precious flower. You're not in a hurry of any kind. Just take this one flower, observe it, smell it, touch it. Observe all the beautiful details, the color, the texture. And then slowly, when keeping the flower in your hand, you can start opening your eyes. Still having the flower in your hand, and very gently, you can put this precious flower on the table next to you. And you can keep this flower there to be reminding you of this beautiful field of flowers which you just visited. And then you can just be there. A little moment. Maybe looking around the space where you are. And slowly getting back to this moment. No hurry, but we can slowly get back.
Thank you, Hannah.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
I hope you can hear me all right.
Yes.
So it is a question for many of us. Why do some people get ill and others don't? I think that some people have by nature strong immunity. Others have optimally developed tissues that don't host pathogens. And this is where lifestyle, natural exercise like the one we did, rhythm, sleep and relaxation and diet can help. Some people have to try more than others on their own mechanism to work well, so that they can bring it back to balance, so that things that can come back to life. So that's when food can really help. Regarding food, there is not one food that is good for everyone. One man's meat, it is said, is another man's poison. It depends on our type and our energy. And again, I will, if you want to find out more, we will talk in our future workshops, but there are videos on our YouTube channel and on our website. And we will cover types and energies in our future events. It also depends on our tastes. You can watch a video about it, but remember to include all 6 tastes in your food. And it's interesting that COVID affects taste. My sense is that that has to do something with the gut. Remember, our gut begins in the mouth, in our tongue. Our gut is now regarded by modern medicine as our second brain. And there's lots of research going on in that area that shows that there is a connection between the gut and our brain, and it can affect us. There's billions of microorganisms inside us, and every mouthful that we put of food in our mouth affects these microorganisms. When they are in balance, things are fine. When they are imbalanced, out of balance, then they affect us and they create all sorts of illnesses. So ancient sciences called this the digestive fire. If our digestive fire, Ayurveda says, is in optimal condition, we can absorb from the food all the nutrients, all the energies that we need to be healthy. So when we sort out our digestion, our brain works better. So we need a gentle diet, a diet that is not eliminatory. It is important that we do things in moderation and that we don't expect quick fixes. These approaches with lifestyle and food take time. I would say as much as possible, try to eat food that is fresh, that is well cooked. And if possible, you cook it yourself with love and attention and care. If not possible, then perhaps get someone else to cook it for you. And try and keep everything in moderation. So not too much, not too little food. The first and commonest factor for triggering diseases is doing too much or too little of anything, really. So eat slowly with attention. That means not in front of the telly. And eat when you're calm, not when you're stressed or anxious. That's very important. And eat at a time that your digestion is at its best. And that time is probably when the sun is at the highest. Use herbs and spices in your cooking. And I will finish by mentioning the most important spices that I think need to be included. Black pepper, cumin, mustard seeds, cinnamon, bay leaves, rosemary, oregano, garlic, lime, and drink warm teas, herbal teas, chamomile, hyssop, licorice, tulsi, and try to enjoy. These and other things we'll cover in the future, but I wanted to give you a snippet of what could be done. Thank you.
Thank you, Eleni, Hannah and Julia. Already a lot of material you've shared with us. And our plan is to run a 10-week, a 10-part course running fortnightly over the next several months. And our first workshop will be in 2 weeks. And the material that we've covered today, we will develop, and we'll add some new material as well. Julia, you can maybe share the slide. So based on our idea of having some regular slots, we will come back to what we call generally embodiment, which is being more connected with your body, trying to find ways to cooperate with bodily functions, particularly digestion, respiration. And in our first workshop in 2 weeks, we'll look at ways of resting which are bringing in a sense of orientation of the body. You can use thought in a way which really encourages expansion in the body. And we'll begin to work with that. Eleni will talk more about a particular, what they call type, Ayurvedic type, or the doshas, looking at Vata and giving some advice on grounding and warming diets. And our colleague in Norway, Anne, will give some advice on using aromatherapy oils for self-massage. And as Julia talked about today, the importance of connecting with nature, whether it's going for a walk or just sitting out in nature. 2 weeks after that, we'll begin, as we said, to explore natural breathing. There is a right way and a wrong way for us to breathe. And if we learn something about that, again, we can cooperate with what's natural. It's not about imposing anything on one's respiratory mechanisms. It's about discovering what's natural and cooperating with it. Eleni will look at the second of the 3 types, Kapha, and we look at some more movement, bringing creativity into movement. And the one after that, we'll develop our study of natural breathing. We'll look at the 3rd Ayurvedic type, Pitta, and find ways to use routines to help us with both diet and sleep. Okay, thank you, Julia. So that's about all we've got time for today. And we will send you by email a link to watch the recording of this when it's ready, because it's a lot to remember. And of course, for those who were not able to come today, they'll be able to watch the recording. For the workshop, because a lot of people tend to unfortunately sign up for free events and then not participate, we will ask for a small donation, but it's it can be £1, I think, is the minimum on Eventbrite. And if anybody really wants to come and you can't manage £1, write to us and we will help. So thank you all for coming. We look forward to seeing you at the next event in 2 weeks. So thank you, everybody.